Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's having a pleasant... Is it spring already? Yes, it's spring after, what was it, March 21st? March 20th? All right, we can see that there's not very much downward pressure in this market. The Dow had the prospects of doing a Dagwood, a bearish evening star signal followed by a bearish doji sandwich, or your evening sandwich, a Dagwood, except then it turned around and closed above the T line. Now you add that in correlation with the NASDAQ, you can see it did a morning star signal right smack dab off the T line, making for a very good J-hook pattern. So the implication is that it's heading higher, and more than likely, if they come back up and test the 200 and break through, we've got another rally in progress. So at least we can factor there's maybe another day or two to test the 200. This corporate bond index also doing a morning star signal. Frank, it could. Let's see. It could qualify as a potential double doji, but remember, you still have to put it in conjunction with what the other indexes are doing. The S&P 500 also trading up. So it would be kind of unusual to have everything trading up and then the Dow get slammed again. Danny, no, the Fed meeting is already, that information is usually already built into the charts of what people think is going to be done at the Fed meeting. So most of the time there's no major surprise. And it looks like crude oil, it's up again. So remember, we kind of factored there was a wedge formation. I think I can draw this. You got this wedge formation. Now, what assumptions can you make based upon a wedge formation? That it's probably choppy in here until it breaks out one way or the other. But the current analysis would be it's choppy in here, so it's probably not going anywhere. Oh, the transportation index just kind of waffled today down here. So it bounced off the 200, closed at the 50. So you have to see how they open this tomorrow. I would suspect they're going to waffle it here, let the stochastics get turned around, or vice versa. With it waffling in here, the stochastics will turn around. Okay, so we recommended Bohr today because of this right here. Get rid of those things. Anytime you see a best friend signal kind of creating a pattern, you look at your slow curve, that usually tells you there's going to be more strength following pretty soon. And we recommended this one because of the kind of your classic pattern, 5-pan bottom, J-hook. It didn't execute today, and this is part of that entry strategy process. If you see something open and immediately start selling off, that should give you obviously a little bit of hesitancy You say, well, they're not buying just yet. So what becomes the place to be buying? If they come back up through the open, that tells you the profit taking's over. You can start buying at that point. See, did I have one that, what did this one do? No, that just opened positive. All right, so we've got some good charts. STEM has that same classic setup, and this is where the T-line becomes a very obvious support level, and allows you to see much more clearly what type of pattern is setting up. Now but also watching this one more as a story stock, because it has that same kind of characteristic. It just hasn't gotten started yet. So that sector is starting to pick up some steam, as we can see here in QuantumScape. We've been accumulating some of this in different accounts, so that's working well. And there's a bunch of others in that sector. Blink coming up nicely. I know I don't hit that. Nicola, watch this one for a J-hook pattern bobble breakout. NIO is acting well. You could be buying this one. Notice the kind of the trend kicker gap up out of the 50 area. I got the big divergence between the Dow, industrials, and the transports. Yeah, so right now, if you're looking at the Dow transports, after the big sell-off, got to decide, was that a big sell-off? Now it's kind of supporting at the level you would obviously think there'd be support. That needs more confirmation tomorrow. As far as the shorts, AMC didn't show a lot of strength today. It actually closed right on the T-line, up a penny after this big reversal signal. So after that big reversal signal, where do you think the first target was going to be? In this case, back to the T-line. Now it's giving you a format or a playing field. We know the doji says if they open this positive and you're short, you close it out immediately. Carvana had a nice short going, but this one would have been closed out when it came back up through the high of the doji. So now what's that chart telling you? I hate when I do that. Pretty much telling you got a nothing chart, just going sideways. Had this opened lower and traded lower, at least you can see that I was coming back down to the bottom of the channel. And Red Hat, Restoration Hardware. Another one that if you were short, you probably should have covered at least half of it today, even though it's not a signal. You're getting toward the oversold area. You're right about at a support level. That's telling you maybe they're not selling this off very hard. So watching to see where buying is occurring. RADA, same scenario. Your stochastics down here in the oversold area. And they're trading positive. What's that tell you about your probabilities? They're not sending it this way. They're starting to take it back up, move to a better situation. And DWAC did not show any great bullish sentiment. So you can observe the obvious. There's your dumpling top. And then when it started breaking down, looking for wave 3 to the downside. So this is that process where if you've got something doubtful, close it out, because there's going to be charts out there, either long or short, that are showing you much more conviction. All right, so the biggies like Tesla, there's kind of your J-hook pattern. Observe the obvious. Where did they bounce today? Right smack dab off the T-line. Amazon, a morning star signal, right smack dab off the T-line. Apple, morning star signal, same scenario. So anytime you can use as many bullish confirmation indicators, the more of them you see, the higher the probability that's where things are reversing. All right, thank you, Bill. And let's see, did we do Apple? Yeah, J-hook pattern. Okay, so the J-hooks are working very well. GP, as you can see, did a nice J-hook, kind of a little kicker type signal, gap up, telling you this uptrend was still in progress. Oh no. That's just a fine howdy do. There's that J-hook pattern with bullish confirmation, and that came up through the 50, came back to the T-line in the 50 and starting back up. This has a high probability factor that it's heading higher. Facebook, little J-hook pattern. What confirmed it? Supporting at the T-line, coming up through the 50. I don't know what happens to this one. Oh, I can't get YMM. That's one to keep an eye on. It doesn't work well on this chart. So here's another one. Big breakout, pullback. Now bullish confirmation. Where do you think the next possible target could be if they've held at the 50? So this is why not only does the analysis of the strength of the signal important, but then also where your next target is likely to be, which in that case would be pretty close to about a 90% upside potential. OUST, another J-hook classic pattern. Fry pan bottom, J-hook. Where's your next likely target? Up here, another 80% upside potential. In Unity, where do you think the next target's going to be? The 200-day moving average. GNOG, a morning star signal. One, if it breaks through this level, what do you got? A bobble breakout. Next target would likely be up here. And then if this break through the 50, potentially all the way back up to the 200. Now when I say potentially, obviously that's in a market condition where we're not seeing a big reversal. The strong stocks are going to work strong even if the market is very slowly moving to the upside. A bobble breakout a bubble breakout is basically a J-hook pattern that comes up. I'm trying to think of which one was a good bobble. I'll find one. It's a J-hook pattern that actually fails at a resistance level, but everybody else is watching like a 50-day or a 200-day moving average. Then it usually pulls back to another moving average, typically the T-line, and then starts back up through that resistance level a second time. I'll try to find one. This wasn't one. This is just kind of a J-hook pattern using the 200 as support. Now this could, that's just more of a kicker type signal coming up through that moving average. Futu could be bought on positive trading. Ollie. Now there's your kicker type breakout. Where would you suspect your next target to be? Up here. So will it get there? Who knows? But what we're really looking at is a kicker type breakout. The probabilities are pretty strong it could move in that direction. So we're looking at signals that tells us there's a drastic change of investor sentiment, that resistance levels aren't working as resistance. Now it's likely to go to the next resistance level. Nice little breakout on BBIO. And Billy also, you could call this a bobble breakout. It's not as clean, but notice the kicker signal. It took you up through that level. That's usually a good strong indication that if they're doing a strong signal through a resistance level, forming a breakout situation, more than likely there's going to be a lot more upside. So it's still got lots of good charts with the prospect that even if they keep the Dow waffling in here, as long as the market's not falling out of bed, the bullish, strong bullish individual stock charts are going to work well. Pin interest, same scenario. Best friend breakout through this whole resistance area, making the prospect of a good strong run coming out of this long flat area. This is what we're looking for, is that move that changes the investor sentiment so your trajectory goes from this way to this way. Another one that's coming up through, not as strong, but looks like a breakout situation on KC. Perry, there's your best friend breakout of the resistance level. Let's make this even smaller. Kind of your fry pan bottom breakout. So this is where you want to learn what the results are of a pattern breakout. Because a lot of people say, well, shoot, this stock's up 15% today. I don't want to be chasing it. That gets rid of that hesitancy. Because if you can recognize this pattern, and then they broke out through the top of that pattern, that tells you now you've got the prospects of a very strong price move. So you're not chasing it, you're taking advantage of the knowledge of knowing what should happen coming out of a fry pan bottom. No knocks. You can stay long on this one. Nice breakout. And REKR. Reason we're pointing this one out is look at your left-right combo, bullish engulfing with a booster. That tells you there's a drastic change of investor sentiment. That one's got some very strong upside potential. And the reason for that is because of this little booster. Tells you they've had a major change of investor sentiment, and now they're confirming it by breaking through kind of these resistance levels. And CMPS, that could fit into the bobble breakout. They came up, failed at the 50, pulled back. There's your left-right combo. Now they're coming back up through the 50. That gives you that much more probabilities that they are starting to buy this one. On the short side, there's your bearish, your evening star signal. Kind of a resistance level, and at the 50, where's your next potential target on this one? Back down into this area, or even down into this area. So anytime you see that indecisive trading, and then a signal, that's kind of the final nail in the coffin that it's putting you in the right direction at the right time. Starbucks, for those that like to trade this slower moving one, they failed up here at the 50. You're in a downtrend. Now you've done kind of an island reversal. If this opens lower tomorrow, you know the first target is probably filling this gap. There's your second target, and there's your potential move to the downside. XPO, you stay short. This is why recognizing a signal at a level that you can see, and then a gap down, once again, that just puts you in the high probability situation. That's where the price is heading. There's your bearish left-right combo. That one can be shorted on weakness tomorrow, AGRO. Evening star signal. Now you're sitting right here at a resistance level, or I'm sorry, a support level. If they break this, what's it telling you? This downtrend is still in progress. Standard Steel, or Steel Dynamics, just now failed the T-line with a little bearish signal. Get ready to short this one. And, whoops, that was more of a bearish engulfing signal. This is PRI. You had a shooting star, a doji, and then on the other chart was a bearish engulfing signal. I wouldn't be afraid to short this one, figuring you got a wave one, wave two, and this is, again, observe the obvious. Look where the selling was occurring in the overbought area, right at a resistance level that is obviously going to act as a resistance level. So what we want to do is recognize what the high probability pattern setups are. Here's lean hogs. Look at your big bearish engulfing signal and a doji. Then it opens lower, creating a pattern that we recognize, a bearish doji sandwich. Where do you think the next target was likely to be? Right down here to the 50, somewhat the same magnitude as that candle. So while we're here, we'll take a gander. Crude oil holding up well. Gold, flat as a pancake. Silver, relatively flat. So when you look at a sector, or you're looking at a commodity like this that's going to affect a sector, and it's not doing much, that means, go away for a while. When the commodity starts trading better, the stocks in that sector will have something to work off of. Whoops, I haven't looked at soybeans. Oh, they popped up a little bit today. And wheat, again, you can see what happened. Big, huge price moves. Then it's just kind of gone relatively flat. Jay, I don't have what's the symbol for that one. Yeah, that's a good chart. Belt hold, left-right combo, uptrend. Yeah, they're still kind of drifting though. Okay, so right now, looks like the Dow is holding up and the NASDAQ doing a J-hook. The implication is we're not selling off right now. So that means the charts that have the strongest bullish chart patterns are the ones you probably want to go after because they're not going to be negatively influenced. A big gap up in the overbought area away from the T-line equals alert to exit. Exactly. That's the analysis from the Japanese rice traders where the graphics of candlesticks illustrate where do most people buy. They buy exuberantly at the top. Same scenario on the downside. If you see a gap down in the oversold area after a long downtrend, that's a good indication. That's the panic selling at the bottom. Start looking for a buy signal. Okay, that's about all I've got for tonight. Are there any general questions on candlestick analysis? We will be doing a full day training on option strategies correlated with the appropriate candlestick signals and patterns on April 23rd. So keep that on your calendar. John, not necessarily. A lot of times, again, remember what after hours is. If something's like Apple's trading 7 million shares during the day, after hours, it may move, whipsaw around, but it may do it on 25,000 shares or even 200,000 shares. But that's not representative of what what everybody's decisions are, which basically the after hours indication is important approximately 5 to 7 minutes before the market opens. That's where all the big money is put their orders in, either to buy or sell. What are the stats for the 8 EMA T-line? What do you mean, what are the stats? No, that's not a left-right combo, Rob. Hey, Rob. No, a left-right combo is more like this, where you have kind of a doji day followed by a bullish engulfing signal. Oh, I don't know. I think it's 197 for members and 297 for non-members. And it's usually, the feedback usually is you get way more than your money's worth, which is what I always try to do. No percentage. Rob, if I'm in an uptrend, trying to think of something that was in a good steady uptrend. If I'm in an uptrend and I'm up in the overbought area, my stop is at the previous day's open. Moves up, when it opens, my stop's at the previous day's open. During the day, if I see it up big like this, I'll put my stop at the open of that day, because logic says if I'm up here in the overbought area and it comes back down through the open, it's going to create some sort of candlestick sell signal. So it's not a percentage move. It's where does the chart tell us the bears have taken control. Okay, any more general questions? If not, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.6 seconds, do the next double line. Okay, WW, Weight Watchers. Get ready to buy on positive trading on a breakout tomorrow. Twitter, that's our toughie because of Elon Musk's buying. I would watch for a 45-degree off of here. CDEV, you stay long. I'd have a safety stop at today's low, but you want to see this open positive and do a doji sandwich breakout. Apps, that one you can be buying on the J-hook type pattern. Fubo, a morning star signal. If you were short, you'd be out of the short. I wouldn't buy it until you see good. You could buy this on strength. You just have to make sure you get through this level. And workhorse, just stay long. Chewy. If you were short, you would have covered the short today. I wouldn't necessarily be going long because that's now not a real good chart with a trend to it. It's kind of sideways. And GB or GTLB, that's your J-hook. Not quite a bobble breakout, but you can see the fry pan bottom. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. RXT. Buy this one on positive trading tomorrow. Doji sandwich breakout. You don't want to see this one if you're long close back below the 50 or the T line. You could be buying this one on positive trading. Breaking up through this level, giving you a wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. Yeah, it's kind of a bobble breakout. It's more kind of a fry pan bottom type breakout. Whoops, I already did that, didn't I? HCWB. Stay long. You're getting up in the overbought area. I would not want to see it close below today's open. But you can see the J-hook pattern. So wave 1 and wave 3 are just about now getting to be equal. I'd be a little bit more attentive as far as watching to see what where a buy signal would come in. I know I did not put a J in front of that. J, R, B, R. Oh. Bearish Harami, if it opens lower, they're coming back to test the 50 to see if it's going to act as support. IBRT, not found. Soybeans. This is May soybeans. It's starting, there was your bullish Harami. It's trading up a little bit after hours. So if you're short, you might consider taking profits on the shorts at this point. Oxy, nothing there. More sideways. Nothing of any great consequence. Apache, yeah, it's still in a decent uptrend. And SRAD, that was a gap down after dojis. Will, you should have been out of this one today. And if you have, if you're long, it has to open positive tomorrow. Charge point. Now watch to see once it's hit the 200 in the overbought area. I'd put a safety stop at today's low. Oops. SPX doesn't come over here. The SPY is doing a morning star type signal. NRT. Just stay long. Also looking for it to break out kind of through this resistance level. Advanced Micro. Bounced back up. But notice where it bounced back up. It opened right about where it opened Friday, which means if they open this positive tomorrow and you're short, close it immediately. That means you've got a bullish flutter kicker. I wouldn't be a buyer of this one. I'd be covering short positions. RTX, if you're short, stay short. Freeport, that wasn't a good sign today. I wouldn't pay attention to this one until it breaks up through this level. Oh, kind of a bullish flutter kicker type signal breaking out. You could still be buying this one. Twitter we did. It's a toughie because of the gap up, so I'd be more apt to be trading this one based on looking for a 45 degree, but then you have to watch to see if your 45 degree will get you through the T line. I'm sorry, through the 200. CLVR, kind of running out of steam. If you have stayed long, it has to open positive. Notice that when they took it up and brought it back down, that kind of took the wind out of the sails. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you give up on it. If it opens lower, you come out of it and you wait for the next buy signal. Kind of what occurred over here. Came back down after the breakout. You don't give up on it. You wait for the next buy signals. This one you stay short. RTX. Zim, that's a bearish J-hook pattern. This one you can short with the expectations of it heading to the 200, which would be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 equivalent to wave 1. Yes, that's a good one, Ralph. And nothing to get real excited about yet. It has done kind of a bullish flutter kicker type signal. You could buy that one on strength, yes. ABML. Whoops. ABMD. That's a bearish kicker signal. If you were long and it gapped down below the previous day's open, you close it out immediately. Now you can think about going short on that bearish kicker signal if it opens lower with your next target, the 50-day moving average. And Cosmos, stay long. You do have a hanging man type signal. Put your safety stop at just below the 3T line or today's low. Labu, you could buy this one or be aware that the biotech sector is acting pretty good. Yes, gold and silver futures were moving sideways, so I'd stay out of that sector. That should come up. I don't know why it's. That what you were looking for, IMMP? That's a nothing chart. Green. You can be anticipating this now, trying to get to the 200-day moving average. Whoops. Kaba. That's kind of a nothing chart. I probably wouldn't pay attention to this one until they can get up through the 50, which is what everybody else. Whoops, VG, you were ahead of me, yes. If you had Clever, well, what the heck just happened there? How did I do that? Way over on that chart. If you had Clever when it took its big jump, would you have sold the next day when it took a big drop? Yes. Because the probability factor is if they open it lower and start trading lower, there's nothing there. Then, especially when they close back below the open of that candle that told you the bulls are in control, I would have been definitely out of it. Right now, I wouldn't be in it until you see a confirmed buy signal. So, we did a session a while back on statistics of big price moves, and I'll probably kind of incorporate that more into our breakout sessions, that if you see a big price move and they open it lower the next day and start trading it lower, close it out, because that means they're taking profits. Then you don't get back in it until it comes up through that level. If it does something like this, now you have to wait for the next buy signal. Myra, it has to get positive to do a J-hook pattern. Is the gap primarily made during, the gap is just something that tells you there's a lot of investor sentiment coming, or a lot of bullish sentiment or bearish sentiment coming into the trade, not necessarily after hours, Trying to think of one that how this opened here and closed here. Well, something happened to that by the time they got ready to open it, there was so much buying or buying pressure, or buying bidding stock, bullish sentiment, that they gapped it up. And they opened it up here just because by the time they got all the orders ready on the open, there was a lot more buyers. Oops, I'm trying to do this over here. Well. NIO. Yeah, it's up a little bit after hours. Not anything that I'd call earth-shattering. And Hood, nothing there yet. Same scenario. Big move like this, if they open it lower the next day, close it out if you got in it, and we wait for it to come up through that level. Or you wait for the next buy signal. SOPA, now that's a classic pattern. Fry pan bottom, J-hook pattern. I'm going to take a look at this real quick. So PA, the volume was almost 4 million, so volume is good. Okay, and then TNP. Another one that has to open positive. I'd put a safety stop at yesterday or Friday's close. Because it came back down through there, the shooting star has taken precedent. Fiverr. Another one that could be bought on positive trading, supporting right off the 50. And BEKE. You could stay long on this one. A bullish flutter kicker type signal with gapping up, that usually illustrates very strong buying. Bill, is that you? PL. Oh, PLTR. That one you can stay long. All right, and right now, after hours, nothing great going on. SF, stay short ever since your failure here at the 50. And international paper. That one, no, you wouldn't go short. That one you watched because it supported the 50. I'd be more apt to watch for a J-hook pattern on that one. And Al, that one you could be buying, especially on positive trading, giving you a kind of a breakout. Roblex, nothing there to get excited about. At this point, I'd probably wait for it to get up through the 50, breaking out through this congestion area. And CAN, You could be buying this one on kind of the little bullish flutter kicker with the expectation that it's going to come up to the 200 and then watch to see what happens once it gets to that level. Okay. It'll be important to see how they open the markets tomorrow. But as long as they're not selling off the markets with any great enthusiasm, even if they're not even buying with any great enthusiasm, there is still a lot of charts out there that are very strong bullish charts. So with that, oh wow, we're done early. We'll see everybody tomorrow bright and early in the chat rooms. We'll see you then.